Howdy folks, Jabberiki here, and welcome to another episode of The Church of Tim Curry, the podcast review series where we talk about movies starring His Holiness Tim Curry. Joining me is my co-host, Viva Becker.
Hello. Very holy.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Brad and Janet are an ordinary couple who have just decided to get engaged. When their car breaks down, they walk through the rain to find someone with a phone, and come across a gothic mansion. Inside, they meet the alien race of the Transylvanians, who are having a party hosted by the eccentric scientist Dr. Frank-N-Furter, played by Tim Curry. Frank invites Brad and Janet down to his lab to reveal his newest creation, a muscle-bound hunk called Rocky. Brad and Janet spend the night in the mansion, only to be caught between an ongoing drama of murder, space politics, and sexual lust. Okay, so this movie is like Marmite. It has a love and hate reputation. So yeah, Viva, what do you think of this film?
As you said, there are a lot of people who really love this movie. So before I say anything, I want to be very careful in just saying it's okay if you like the movie. And I understand that it's very important to a lot of people, and I think that's great for you. Unfortunately, I would say the movie was not great for me, but it can be great for other people. And don't kill me super hard in the comments. I do want, a couple limbs left.
You don't read the comments though.
I don't read the comments, but
so you are safe.
I know the reputation of what happens in the comments.
So for me personally, I can't remember how old I was. Probably about 17, 18. I was a teenager basically, and my parents kept telling me, you need to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It sounds like something that you will love. And I watched it and I did fall in love with it. It is everything that I adore in terms of aesthetics, tone, themes, direction. It's just everything I love, like camp, kitsch, the 1950s B-movies, rock and roll music, Tim Curry. It's just everything that I adore encompassed in one film, and I also love musicals, so yeah, it's just totally my area.
Well, this review is going to be very interesting then, because
polar opposites.
Yeah.
But rewatching the film, I can understand why people wouldn't like it. There are things I notice like, right, okay, I can see. I think the major problem of the film and why it possibly turns a lot of people off is that it doesn't really have a story or a plot. Because
did you see Tim Curry and his outfit? I don't think that you can be turned off, exactly.
But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so, what I realize is that, and this is something I've looked into, so the creator of Rocky Horror, Richard O'Brien, he wrote this project in a way where he just wanted to have fun and just wrote whatever came to mind. So, when it boils down to it, he wasn't intentionally trying to tell a story, he was just mucking about. And you can tell that's what he's going for. He's just like, I like this is interesting to me, I'm gonna put this in the script. And I can see that can go both ways for audiences, because on the one hand, people love that. I mean, that's one of the things I love about it, is that it's this eclectic mix of different things, this hodgepodge of ideas just smushed together into one unique kind of project. There's just nothing else really like it. There have been things that have attempted to mimic it, but it was the first of its kind. And it's just such a refreshing thing because of that. But at the same time, it's also going to frustrate people that are going for a cinematic movie experience and want a story to be told to them. And I think what intrigues me is that the events that are happening before the film and outside of the film are more interesting than the ones that the script decides to follow. I reckon that if the movie was more about those plots, it would be more wide appealing and easier for people to get into.
The ride that you go on is basically just for the aesthetic of the movie. So if you are someone who would be really proud of being called unconventional, then you will probably like the movie. If you're someone who wants a movie that has content, story, characters with any kind of normal reaction to anything,
this isn't for you.
Okay, sorry, but good songs, you're not really gonna get it. And the only theme that I felt was really strong throughout the movie was kind of the movie very strongly rejecting anything that was conventional. So the theme was, how can we be as unconventional as possible and make things that are conventional bad, I guess? I don't know, not bad, but
boring. I would say it's kind of like saying that these are boring things, and in a punk rock sense, it wants to rebel against that kind of notion.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, I just didn't... I was pretty bored throughout the whole movie. I kept on checking to see how much time I had left. I kind of felt like all the songs were blurring together because they all kind of sounded the same to me. And the way that people delivered their lines, a lot of times you couldn't even tell what they were saying, so it was just like gibberish being spouted out of the screen.
I'm very different because I can hear what they're saying and I can quote this film so much.
Well, I'm happy for you, James. I'm very happy for you.
The thing is as well that after I got into the film, I found someone else that was into the film 3 times as much as I am, to the point whenever she would visit my university dorm, she would always say, "Let's watch Rocky Horror." So I've seen this film so many times because of her.
Well, you have an edge on me then, because I've only seen it one time before this, and it wasn't a great time. It was my first time out on Halloween as like a real teenager without the fam, at like a real teenager Halloween party, and we watched this, and I got really sick because I overindulged in the candy bucket, and I guess that, you know, didn't really help me focus on the words of the movie when I had to go puke in the bathroom. So
do you know what's interesting is that this is the second Tim Curry film where the first time you watched it, you had too much sugar and you felt sick. You did the same for Annie as well.
That's true. I remember that was when I was a very young child, and this was when I was a slightly less young child.
But yeah, I objectively, even though I'm a big fan of the film, I can see why people would be bored by it, because it is very slow and very uneventful, and it kind of takes its time with a lot of things, and it drags things out, and we spend almost an uncomfortable long time in certain locations.
And honestly, this is only for me and my experiences that I've had so far, but the things that they put up on the screen as unconventional don't really seem that unconventional to me anymore.
Right.
Like when they fling the doors open to the convention, and there's all these people and they have weird hair and they're dancing around, and then Janet like passes out. I'm like, please. that's not even that crazy. Like,
no, but if her character, who's supposed to be like almost hyper conservative and the epitome of normal, I can imagine her fating to something like that.
She was
it's
the
tame for
epitome of
everyone
annoying,
else.
in my opinion. I was like,
Well,
why are you passing out? This isn't even that crazy.
Well, the thing is, like I said, I'm very attached to the B-movie aesthetic, and and I feel as if that Barry Bostwick and Susan Sarandon are just so perfect in capturing that acting style.
Let's get out of here.
For God's sake, keep a grip on yourself, Janet.
But it seems so unhealthy here.
It's just a party, Janet.
Well, I want to go.
Well, we can't go anywhere till I get to a phone.
Well, then ask the butler or someone.
Just a moment, Janet. We don't want to interfere with their celebrations.
This isn't the Junior Chamber of Commerce, Brad.
They're probably foreigners, ways different than our own.
That wooden, exaggerated, strange delivery, and they both have this self-awareness and this irony to their performances that I really like. But I think, for me, one of the things that I do love about the film to this day is this atmosphere. And it's like, yeah, it's very slow and it drags on, but I think like that kind of gives me a chance to soak in the strangeness and the world, and it makes it feel almost dreamlike. That's what helps me to get immersed in it. Speaking of songs, though, I will agree that they all have the same kind of style and tone. But I still really love them, and I think they're incredibly well written. There is some sophistication and some culture behind the lyrics. A lot of the time, the songs don't really play into the movie in terms of like in a big scope. They're just songs that Richard O'Brien wrote and thought, that's cool, I'm gonna put it in. But I can't help but love them. I really do love them. I find them so catchy, and I really enjoy them, and I love to sing along to them.
I mean, I could believe the thing about the lyrics, I just couldn't hear what they were saying, so.
The sword of Damocles is hanging over my head, and I've got the feeling someone's gonna be cutting the thread. In just 7 days, I can make you a man. Said he didn't like his teddy, you knew he was no good kid. But when he threatened your life with a switchblade knife,
What a guy.
Makes you cry.
and I did.
I'm a wild and entertaining. I'll be ready to listen. You got a head and your mind goes big.
I thought that there's like the normal people cast, and then there's the weird people cast, and the only person in the weird people cast that I actually liked was Tim Curry. He was the only one who felt like he was being weird because that's who he was. The other people felt like they were being weird because they were trying to be weird. So when I watched them, I wasn't having fun. I was just cringing because I was like, okay, you guys, I'm very proud of how weird you can be. But you're not selling me on your performance of being weird.
Right. I can see that. I mean, for me, that kind of works for the character of Columbia, because she's supposed to be like a Frank-N-Furter fangirl, and she's attached to this idea of how wonderful he is for being himself, and it's almost like she's trying to imitate that energy to try and find herself in a way. But I definitely disagree about all the others. I feel like Columbia is intentionally trying too hard to fit in with this group, and she can't. And that there's almost like a tragic element to that. But yeah, I do believe that Frank-N-Furter is the most rounded character in the film, and I find him fascinating. On rewatching the movie, there was just things that really made me think about the character, and I'm even considering writing an editorial on him as well. It's just that he's this narcissistic maniac who has control issues. He's come to Earth, and it's like he has fallen in love with Earth culture, and he wants to adopt it into his home. And he's particularly enamored with theatre and film of Earth, and he wants to capture that adrenaline of being a movie star, of being a stage star. And I feel like there is some real drama and tragedy to that moment where after he's had that big fantasy of him putting on a show for an audience and he turns around, that audience is gone, and it's like reality has hit back to him, and Riff Raff and Magenta are like, no, we're gonna have to kill you. You can actually see the fear in his eyes, and in that moment I do kind of like feel sorry for him, and like I'll be honest, this is possibly one of my top 5 Tim Curry performances as well, and I feel like he brings both a flamboyancy and a humanity to the character. He can be scary, he can be funny, he can be charismatic, and he also brings a lot of the confidence and charisma of the character to life. He is a horrible person, but I feel like what adds more dimension to him is his confidence, and is this side of him that can be afraid and can lose that confidence at points.
You see, you are fortunate, for tonight is the night that my beautiful creature is destined to be born!
Yeah.
That's what interests me, is that there's some dimension to him. He's not just a cardboard cutout evil scientist. There's a bit more to him than that.
Yes, unlike his 2 alien companions who are pretty boring, never really got on board with them. Columbia, like I said, seemed like she was kind of trying too hard, never really got on board with her. Brad and Janet, like, throughout the movie, it goes to lengths to show that they're hypocritical, not great people, so never really... The only person that I kind of liked was Rocky, but that's just because he doesn't really do anything except for walk around and have muscles, and that's it.
I found Rocky to be quite adorable and endearing, to be honest, on rewatch. I think there's this curious, childlike, innocent mentality to him that I just find really cute. I just think he's a very cute character, and
he lives for what, like a total of like 10 hours?
Yeah.
It's pretty sad, and it doesn't give him a chance to really do anything objectionable because he only lives for 10 hours.
Yeah. But, like, at the same time, he has his moments. For example, the part where he sees his creator being killed and he climbs the RKO tower with his creator in arms. I thought that was a bit of a poignant moment. Yeah.
It's kind of sad, but I was more pleased that Frank-N-Furter had died than anything at that point.
Oh, yeah, he deserved it.
And I was like, why are you climbing this tower? Where are you going to go? Like, I know what's going to happen, so...
Well, obviously, that's the thing. His character is meant to be very childlike and innocent and clueless in a sense, so it makes sense why he would not know what he's doing at the time. It's pure emotion. He's just acting on what he's seeing. There's this father figure of his has died in front of him, and that's his internal reaction. But I want to go back, because like I've given my opinion on Tim Curry in this film. What's your opinion on Tim Curry's performance?
Tim Curry's performance in this film was really good. I would definitely say that it would also probably be, in my top 5 Tim Curry performances. Just because I saw him pull off something that none of the other cast could pull off. I would say if you're trying to figure out if you're going to like the movie or not, just watch the opening credit scene with the weird mouth floating around. And if you think, oh, this is pointless and boring and stupid, then you're not going to like the movie. But if you see that and you're like, something about this is very intriguing, the way you can see the yellow of the teeth, the way that it's all wet as it sings to me, then you're probably going to like it.
I would say that people should watch the time warp scene to get an idea of whether they are going to be a fan, because I feel as if that reflects what the film's going to be like, and it gives a chance for people to put themselves in the shoes of Brad and Janet and think, okay, am I going to warm up to this world or am I going to be put off by it? Let's find out. So I feel like Time Warp is a good introduction.
Time Warp is pretty fast and energetic, though, for a movie that's pretty boring.
Okay, so rating?
2 out of 10.
Wow.
What the Rocky Horror Picture Show lacks in story and pacing, it makes up for in its campy celebration of sexual expression and loving affection to sci-fi B-movies. It's also a very fun musical, with each 1950s rock and roll style song expertly written with rich cultural references and tongue-in-cheek humour. I know that this film is not for everyone, but me personally, I really admire its otherworldly strangeness and shameless confidence. Plus Tim Curry steals the spotlight as mad scientist diva Dr. Frank-N-Furter. I'm going to give it a rating of 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, I've been Jamboree, and I hope you enjoyed this review.
Goodbye, everyone. Let's not do the Time Warp again.